Proxmox, powerful open source hypervisor. It allows users to deploy and manage virtual machines, containers, but also use virtualized storage with applications such as TrueNAS from a single web-based interface. Proxmox is ideal for building and managing virtualized environments and can be useful for development, testing, production servers, or in our case, Homelab. Today I'll be showing you how to install Proxmox on my mini home server. I'll get it running on Intel N100 CPU with 32GB of memory, 2 SSDs that I'll be using as a storage for VMs and containers, plus 1TB SSD used as ZFS pool for storing data. I'll be showing you how to configure all that, how to configure ZFS, and after that I'll be showing you how to install a bit complicated HomeAssistant running as a virtual machine. For drives, be aware which one you select. As I have 4 drives, I'll install Proxmox itself only on one drive. For country and time zone settings, use your specific ones. This password will be root password, so you can access Proxmox GUI at the end of installation. So keep it somewhere in memory or write it down on a paper. For hostname, you can name it whatever you want. If you're connected to your router, you should be getting automatically fully qualified domain name or FQDN and your IP address. In my case, I was not connected directly to a router, so I had to input manually my local home domain, which is fritz.box. You can get that info on any other device that's connected to your router. For IP address, you might be getting it automatically, but I'm running Proxmox node on a different subnet, so I've added IP address where I want node to be located at. Gateway is most likely your local router in home, so easiest way is to find your IP by looking up on another device. DNS server, most likely your local router. In the background you can see start of Proxmox installation. All you need is Proxmox ISO image, something like Rufus, which uses as a tool to make your USB bootable. And then you just boot up Proxmox installation from that USB drive. Once installation is finished, your server will be rebooted and you'll be shown IP and port on which Proxmox UI is running on. Let's type that IP and port into your browser, log in with username root and password you assigned a few steps before. Once logged in, you can see overview of your Proxmox node, showing you CPU, memory, storage usage, uptime and similar. Our SSD drive we picked for installation is now divided into 2 storage locations. Local for backups, ISO images and container templates. Local-LVM is for storage of actual VMs and containers, so like data of VMs and containers. First important thing I do is to update Proxmox node to the latest version. For that we need to pick our node, go to repositories, add non-subscription repository. In the same time, disable subscription repositories because as you can see in the video, it will cause errors that you don't have subscription. So if you hit refresh, it will find packages that are in need of update. And once packages needing update have been identified, you can press upgrade, confirm your upgrade and reboot your node once upgrade has been done. So we will now update from version 8.1.4 to version 8.1.10. As I have 2 1TB SSD drives, I'm gonna create ZFS pool containing those 2 1TB SSD drives. I'll use this for my personal storage of like video recordings or movies for Jellyfin and so on. You can name it whatever you want. For the RAID level, I'm gonna use mirror so that whatever is written on one SSD, it's gonna be mirrored to the second one. So you have redundancy in case one of the SSDs decides to die. After that, you can take a look if your ZFS pool is now online. You can see health says online and that there are no known data errors. Next thing I'll be showing you is how to install Home Assistant in a VM. There is a script online you can use, but I'm gonna show you how to manually do it. You go to Home Assistant webpage, you take the link, go to your Proxmox node into shell, cd into tmp. With the wget and the URL you copied from Home Assistant webpage, you download that package. Then you unzip it with unxz command. This will store package under your /tmp folder. After we unpacked package, let's create VM. Name it however you like. I'll name mine Home Assistant. We're not going to use any image here. We will replicate the downloaded package onto your VM storage. For system BIOS, pick UEFI and select your storage for VM data. In my case, it's local tin. ZFS, as I said, is going to be used for my personal data. Disable pre-enroll keys and remove all disk attached to VM. Give it 2 cores and 4 GB of memory and create your VM. Now, most important thing is to go back to node shell. We'll use QA import disk command to import unpacked content onto our freshly created VM. 100 here means VM ID. Then package location, and we are currently in TMP, so only package name is needed. Last thing we need is location to where we are storing data, which is local alvm. Once done with importing data, let's go to VM hardware options. For unused disk, select SCSI. If you're using SSD, put a tick mark on discard and add that drive. In the same time, disable any other drive that may appear on this list. And one last thing to do is go under VM options and boot order. Select your freshly created drive and untick everything else. This makes sure that you're booting from the drive we created. Now you can start your VM and you can find your Home Assistant IP that's shown in console. Create your user account and congrats, you have just installed Home Assistant operating system as a VM.